All right. Hello, everyone. This is the second time I'm recording this because the first time didn't work, so shoot me. But all right, this is going to be the overview of reelmaster.ai, and what it's going to be used for, and how how you guys are going to interact with it when it's released as a fully integrated system. So background: how did we get here? So just a little bit of background on me. I have been studying electrical and AI engineering for the last 4 years. I just finished my fourth year and I have one more year coming up. So I've been doing AI for a long time and I've seen sort of the stages of the growth. I was in school when ChatGPT first launched and really blew onto the scene and took the university by storm. And I've seen the the recent boom in AI and I see where it's going, and it's pretty insane, to be honest. If it's an exponential curve, we're at the very bottom right now, and we're going to be going straight up in the next couple months. The only thing that I could see standing in the way of that is if the big tech companies, deem that the AI is getting too strong and too powerful, they might need to sort of put a limit on it, put a limiter on it and scale it back. But I think that the sort of systems that are going to be created will be able to kind of continue moving up on that upward trajectory. So these pictures here are photos of my Oma and Opa. They are from Germany originally. They immigrated to Canada in the mid 1940s. So if you know anything about history, they left Germany for some pretty good reasons, and they came to southwestern Ontario and were pig farmers. And this is sort of my area around here. This is where my family has been and grown up, both on my mom and my dad's side. So this is where I want to stay. I don't want to go to California. I don't want to move. I don't want to go to the U.S. I want to build this and have this grow up right here in southwestern Ontario. Goals. So what are we trying to accomplish? So the photos here are just from that same library of I guess images of my family just playing in the snow when they were little. And if you think about the memories that stick in your head and the ones that you don't forget, they're usually memories of you with your family or your friends doing something really cool or really sort of fun, or something that just really impactful. And you're probably outside, probably doing something that's not work. You're not going to have any core memories of you at a cubicle doing email or drafting drawings, right? Your core memories are going to be the ones that you spend with your family and your friends doing something that you love to do. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to accomplish with reelmaster. I want people to have more time to do the things that they love and to sort of grow their interests and be able to really master and hone in on the things that they really are into in their life, no matter what that is. So how are we going to do this? So like I said before, if the AI boom that we're in right now is an exponential curve, we're pretty close to the bottom still. And what I want to do is be able to leverage that AI boom and create systems that use the models that are being created by the big tech companies. So obviously, if you guys know anything about AI, most of the stuff that you've probably studied has been on model training and testing and actually creating models. And I actually don't believe that this is something that we're going to have to do anymore. I think that we can leave the model creation and training in the hands of the big tech companies who have insane budgets and have $1 billion of compute power at their disposal to create and train these huge models with. And what we can do as sort of these new up and coming young AI engineers is we're going to create systems that sort of use those models for other sort of applications. So if you think about the dot-com boom in the early 2000s, when the internet was created, nobody wanted to create a new internet, right? The internet was the internet, and what people did was create applications and platforms that lived in the internet. So sort of like that, the AI that we have from these big tech companies is very good, and it's going to keep getting better, and they're not going to stop working on it, right? They're going to keep making it better. And if we create systems that are modular and can have the latest and greatest models just plug in and work, then we can sort of build on top of that, on top of the work that's already been done, and create new and innovative applications that can benefit all people in the world. So here's a high-level overview of the system. Now, don't get too lost here. I probably try to be a little more quick through this than I was last time. But so in the yellow zone, we have top layer automation, easy to configure and change. So this is sort of I don't really know, it's a middle layer. It's not really the top layer. I'd say the top layer is probably the front end. The middle layer, this kind of how the AI is sort of controlling. And this is the area that in the past would have been done by a human. If you think about a typical system, So what's going to be going on here? So you can see that I have building like these blocks, like this is a very like high level block diagram. And each of these blocks are like things that are easy to implement by themselves, and that already exist. Like if you wanted to make a database, you could do that very easily, and there's lots of resources on how to do that. However, if you wanted to create a whole system that works autonomously with the database, that might take a little bit more work. So I think what the future of systems design is going to be is creating these very like high level block diagrams, the different like building blocks that on their own can be very easily built. However, together will require the knowledge of like a smart human who has knowledge in the AI field to be able to put them all together and sort of create a whole system out of it. So you guys probably know what a database is. All it is just like like an area where you can store and like manage files. So for reelmaster, what those are going to be is the videos that we generate. So the videos that get spit out of the image or the video generation model are going to be held in a database, and then you can see that I have Anthropic Agent 1, Anthropic Agent 2. Don't worry about Anthropic, that's just the company that makes the model. And if you're not really sure what an agent is, go watch a video on like what agents do. But simply, it's just like, imagine you have ChatGPT on an iPad, and you basically bring that iPad around and just point it at different things and assign it a task to do. So for example, if I put my iPad and face it towards my desk, and I took a picture of the desk and I said, I want you to organize this desk for me and explain how to do it. The agent's task would be to organize, and that would be what it would do. Now, the important thing with agents is that you give it a very specific task and you tell it exactly what you want. You don't want to be vague. You don't want to be overly ambiguous with your task, because that's when the agent can start to do things that you don't want it to do, and that's where things start to get pretty dangerous. So the agents in this system, what they're going to be doing is managing the data and the trends and like all the sorts of like nuances of content and media generation that previously were done by humans, but probably with when humans did these tasks, it was probably done with a pretty high like error, because not everyone is like extremely tapped into all the sorts of trends and like media forms and like what's going on social media and on the internet. But if we have models that are trained on like and can access the internet and are trained on like a very wide set of data, then we can have it predict and like analyze trends and sort of patterns a lot better than what a human could do. Because that's really what, at the end of the day, what AI is the best at. It's like analyzing trends, patterns, and like picking up on like small details and like changes that humans might miss. So this whole vector store and vector store embedding, all this is I don't know if you guys know what like a vector field is or like a 3D vector space, but basically the way like a large language model works is it maps different words to different like points in a 3D vector space, with words that are more closely related being closer together in that vector space. So if you think about like the words bike and like scooter, like they're pretty different things, but they're similar in a way that they're used like you use them to roll around. They both have wheels. You ride both of them, right? So those things might not be like touching in the vector space, but they might be like pretty close together. Whereas something like flying and swimming would probably be very far apart. Because if you're flying, you definitely don't want to be in the water, and like if flying a plane. And if you're swimming, you're probably not going to get that high in the air unless you're doing like diving or something, but that's like a rare case. So those things would be very far apart in that vector space. And then, so that's the vector store is basically just like a representation of that vector space. And then the vector store embedding and manager just kind of transforms that vector space into data that can be analyzed and read by the agents. Now moving on to the red, we have backend. Now this is the part that was the most difficult for me. And I do have experience coding in Python and working with transformers. However, I've never done anything on this scale with this like high level of AI before. So this one took me a while because you have to work in different operating systems and like work in command line and like do a bunch of weird stuff. So I really would suggest like this is not something that is probably going to have to be done anymore because it's already built, and the AI systems that are out now didn't exist when I started building this system. So it was very difficult for me. Like it took me a long time to get the backend and the transformers all working. But now that it's done and now that there's these new AI coding tools available, this process will be a lot easier in the future for other systems. So I wouldn't worry about it as much. But when I did this, it was a big headache. And I spent a lot of time in like Linux shell and like in the command line doing a bunch of weird stuff that you probably don't want to even begin to try to understand. And then the green part, this is probably the easiest part to do, is like the front end. So this would be either like a website and then into like an iOS app. So ideally, the system is going to be able to be interacted with using an iOS app on your phone, just like you would any other social media platform. And then that iOS app is going to be linked to like a website with like a server and like a host, right? And then that's how you'd be able to control the system. So your task. So as an account manager, what you're going to do is think of something in your life that you spend a lot of time doing, you're an expert on, or that you really like, you're really passionate about. That's what I want you to start creating and thinking about how you're going to create content for. Because at the end of the day, the best content that we can generate is not going to be purely generated by AI. It's going to be generated by humans, or humans prompting AI. So for example, if I'm an expert in baseball or like skateboarding, then I would create content based on that, because those are the fields that I think that I know a lot about and I feel well educated enough to give information to the public and to other people about. For example, sewing, I don't know how to sew at all, so I would never make anything about sewing. But if you like sewing and you're good at that, then hey, go for it. People should learn how to sew if they want to, you know? So there's so many different things and areas where you could like look at and create content for. There's millions of different things that exist in the world. So whatever you're into, whatever it is, doesn't matter how weird it is, as long as it's not anything that's like unethical or like bad for public consumption, go for it. Try to learn more about it, learn as much as you can, and then start thinking about how you can create content to sort of like educate, inform, entertain, any of those sort of mediums of content consumption. So daily workflow. So if you're using the system, what's your day in the life going to be? And this is not going to be a replacement for a job. This is going to be sort of like a side thing that you do just for fun or for like as another form of social media maybe. And like what I'm envisioning here is that the users of reelmaster would probably spend ideally between 10 and 15 minutes a day creating their videos. And then reelmaster will be able to generate the videos and post them to Instagram autonomously with the user's like permission, of course. So obviously any video that's going to be generated is going to need the okay from a real human user before it gets posted. Nothing will be posted purely from AI. That's like where things start to get dangerous. And then those videos will get posted to Instagram, and then we're gonna have a Slack page as well, which is already created. And now, I don't know if you guys have ever used Discord, but Slack is basically just like a commercial version of Discord. And if you ever use Discord, it's very similar. The UI is almost identical, so it's pretty much the same. It's easy to use. You can have different channels for every different like topic or account that exists, and have discussions between them about how you're going to make videos or what you want to make a video on that day if you have multiple people working on the same account. And then Snapchat and YouTube. Now, Instagram kind of lies in the middle. Like, if you think about like forms of content in social media, Snapchat is very like informal, short form, very short, quick videos or quick photos, text, stuff like that. Instagram kind of lies in the middle. Things can be a bit longer. You can have like 5 to 10 second videos, or even like a minute long videos if you're doing reels. Anything that's created by reelmaster, I want to keep it in the 5 to 10 second range, because that's like the ideal range for the amount of compute power that we're going to have. And then anything longer than that, if we're looking at 5 to 10 minutes, then that'll be sort of like in the YouTube area, because I think that 5 to 10 minutes is kind of the sweet spot for YouTube videos if you're going for like maximum sort of engagement. Anything longer than that, probably not the best idea unless it's like a very specific thing, like you're making a movie or like you're doing like a very long like real human discussion or like a podcast, something like that. And then through all these platforms, we can communicate through Slack, and then whoever's controlling the company, and if in like 5 to 10 years there's like actual like a board controlling the company, then they can communicate with us through Slack or through email. I really don't like using email. I think it's really slow and really like time consuming. So we're trying to stay away from that for all the account managers. Just keep using what you're using. If you use Snap, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, just keep it on there. TikTok, I don't know if I really like TikTok. If you're a big TikTok guy, then maybe you can try to do some TikTok, but I don't really want to get into that, so let's move on. So questions. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Just leave a comment down below. Also, if you have any like ethical or like societal concerns about the system and what it's going to do, please leave a comment. I'd be happy to get into a conversation with anyone about that. I've really thought a lot about it, and I've thought about the risks. I've been thinking that content consumption and only consuming content is like a really bad and like unhealthy thing to be doing. I think that humans should be creating as well as consuming. And if you're not creating and you're only consuming, then you're kind of just like putting yourself down this rabbit hole where you're not really generating any of your own ideas. You're kind of just in this sort of like vacuum of like people's opinions and ideas just coming at you without you giving anything back. And it's kind of like a weird position to be in. And I think it really is weird for the human brain to be constantly fed information without really giving any of like its own sort of ideas or like perspective. So that's why it's important that I think humans create as well as consume. And that's why I think Reelmaster, if it's an app, could be like a really good sort of platform for people to be able to easily and in a short amount of time create content that they can put on the internet as well, and then also use the social media platforms to consume other people's content. So want to work with us. So to be honest, I don't really need anyone to work with me right now, because, this is going to be a very slow thing. And maybe at the start of next September, if we do like a more formal like rollout of this system, then maybe we'll need more people to work. But if you're just going to be an account manager, you don't need to you're not really going to need to be an employee. You can just do it on your own. Like you can create your own account, manage it yourself, use the platform. You'll be able to like link your account with the actual platform, like on the app, so that it knows what account is yours, and you'll have like login credentials and whatever. So it knows what account is yours, and you can link it through the Instagram API to be able to post to it automatically. Now, if you do really want to work with me for some reason, you can send an email to me with your resume and why you think that you'd be a good fit to work here. Like I said, I'm probably not going to hire anyone, but if you really want to, then go ahead. I'll read your email. And then the Google form is for account managers. So if I don't know who you are and you want to be an account manager, fill out the Google form and prove to me why you'd be a good account manager for whatever topic of your choosing, and I might choose to approve or deny you. So this is kind of like an overview of what the sort of account layer will look like, and start tomorrow. That's maybe a bit much, but take it slow, no rush. We don't need to expand beyond Western or Toronto or whatever. We can kind of keep it pretty local for now. My main areas that I'm sort of operating in with the business are Toronto, London, and then Grand Bend, where my cottage is. So if you see here on the account layer, we have all the different sorts of genres. So we have like baseball, finance, painting, sewing, baking, whatever. These are all the different genres. Like this could be like a list of 100 accounts. Like there could be as many as we want, as long as they're being controlled and managed by a human. None of them can be controlled solely by AI. I don't want that to happen. I want a human to be controlling every account and be monitoring every post that goes out. And then up from there, we have the kind of like trends analysis, and this will kind of go on in the Slack. Like we can have the agents that are in the system sort of like send messages into Slack. It's like, okay, today this is popular, this audio is popular, or this sort of topic or video is popping off. Like maybe this is going viral, whatever the current daily trends are. We can have agents that kind of can recognize that and spit it out to us so that we can capitalize on it and create the best and most like viral videos. And then that'll be up managed by me. And then we have business, finance, marketing, relations, whatever. That'll be all managed by my people. And so you don't really have to worry about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I really spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks building it, and it's been a grind. It's been pretty hard on me, to be honest. Like I've really been through a lot in these last couple of weeks. And I'm just happy that everything is sort of wrapping up now, and we can actually like sit back and enjoy the kind of things that we've been doing and have a good summer. Go back, start working a real job, and let reelmaster kind of like work on the side. And then maybe next year when school starts, we can do a more formal rollout and we can have reelmaster start popping off. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope this wasn't too long, and I'll